Picture this: you're scrolling through your phone late at night, maybe a little too much caffeine in your system, and you stumble upon a video. It's grainy, shaky, and it shows a security camera capturing something that looks like a shadow flitting across a hallway. You can almost feel your heart rate spike. You think, man, what if that was real? Technology has shifted the of ghost stories. It's like we've traded campfire tales for TikTok clips and YouTube videos. Now, instead of gathering around a fire to hear about the haunted woods, we're sitting alone in our rooms, watching footage that raises the hair on the back of our necks. And honestly, it's a wild ride. But here's the kicker: while we're glued to our screens, we've got to consider how this tech influences our fears. It's not just about the content we consume, but how it shapes our understanding of what terror looks like in modern society. Think about it. Back in the day, ghost stories were passed down through generations, steeped in local lore and cultural fears. Now, well, it's all about how many views you can rack up on your ghostly encounter video. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the role of folklore. Ghost stories often reflect societal fears, things we're worried about as a community. For example, in many cultures, spirits represent the fear of the unknown, of death, or even of familial ties that have been broken. In the modern context, are we not just projecting our anxieties about technology itself? The very devices we rely on to connect us can also isolate us, making the idea of a haunting all the more chilling. Imagine you're in a dark room, and the only light comes from your screen, illuminating your face. You're watching a video of a family in their living room, and suddenly their security camera picks up a figure standing in the corner. But when they turn to look, it's gone. Your pulse quickens. It's that mix of the mundane and the supernatural that gets under your skin. It's not just a scary story, it's a possibility that could happen to any of us. Now you might be asking, okay, but what's the link with technology? Well, think about smartphones. They're like mini cameras in our pockets, ready to capture the bizarre at a moment's notice. Whether it's a flickering light in your home or a strange noise outside, you whip out your phone, hoping to document the paranormal. But what if what you capture is something you can't explain? There's a growing collection of videos online where people claim to have recorded ghostly activity. Some of these clips are downright chilling. You see a shadow darting across a hallway, or a door creaking open on its own. But then there's that nagging thought: could it be a trick of the light? Or maybe someone just edited it for views? Security cameras are particularly intriguing. They're designed to catch everything: burglars, pets doing ridiculous things, and yes, even ghosts. They're impartial observers, right? So when something strange pops up on the feed, it's hard to brush it off as nonsense. Take that famous video of a toddler running away from a corner of a room, looking terrified. The parents were puzzled. What could possibly scare a child that much? The video went viral, and suddenly, everyone was debating what it could be. Is it a ghost? A figment of the child's imagination? Or just a well-timed coincidence? That's where the discussion gets interesting. Let's dig deeper. Ghost stories are often a reflection of our fears and uncertainties about the world. In the past, they were about the supernatural, but now, they're about technology itself. We're scared of what we don't understand, be it ghosts or the algorithms that dictate our social media feeds. In many ways, the internet has become the modern campfire. People gather online to share their stories, whether they're personal experiences or urban legends. And the more bizarre, the better. Consider regional myths. Every culture has its own unique stories that evoke fear. In Japan, you have the kappa, a water spirit that drags people into the depths. In the US, we have the Mothman, a creature that supposedly appears before disasters. But in today's world, these old tales take on new forms. The kappa could be a figure captured on a security camera lurking near a lake. The Mothman might be seen in videos taken from a drone flying over a desolate town. Technology adds a layer of credibility to these tales. It's not just hearsay anymore, there's actual footage. What happens when those stories collide with technology? Well, we get a new kind of ghost story, one that's deeply intertwined with our modern existence. This is where the psychological aspect comes into play. How much of our fear is rooted in the unknown, and how much comes from our reliance on screens? We're living in a time where we're inundated with information, yet we still crave the supernatural. Ever heard of the phenomenon called pareidolia? It's when your brain tricks you into seeing patterns where none exist, like faces in clouds or shadows in the corner of your eye. In our tech-driven world, this becomes even more relevant. You're watching a video, and your mind fills in the blanks. You see a flicker, and suddenly, your heart races. Is it a ghost? Or just a trick of the light? But here's where it gets really interesting. The fear we experience from these tech-generated ghost stories isn't just about the paranormal. It's a reflection of our fears about technology itself. We're afraid of surveillance, of being watched, of the unknown. When a door swings open by itself in a video, it's not just about a ghost. It's about what happens when we relinquish control to things we can't fully understand. Now, let's pause for a moment. If you're enjoying this dive into the spooky side of technology, hit subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Moving on, let's consider how modern ghost stories can also serve as a critique of our society. We're glued to our phones, chasing likes and views, and in the process, we might be losing touch with reality. When we create content that blurs the lines between the real and the supernatural, what does that say about us? Think about urban legends that have arisen with the advent of smartphones. Stories of people being haunted by their own devices, or of apps that lead you to haunted locations. These tales aren't just about fear, they're about our relationship with technology. And what about those security camera videos capturing unsettling events? They often go viral, not just because they're creepy, but because they tap into that shared anxiety we all have about the unknown. It's a reminder that while we might feel safe behind our screens, there's still a world out there that can't be controlled or explained. Now, let's take a detour. Imagine you're watching a video of a couple in their home, and the camera catches something moving behind them. You're on the edge of your seat, heart racing, waiting for the big reveal. But when they turn around, it's just a cat. It's funny, right? But it also highlights that thin line between the mundane and the terrifying. Here's the kicker: the psychological impact of these videos can linger long after we've turned off the screen. They can leave us questioning our reality, wondering if that shadow we saw out of the corner of our eye was just a trick of the light or something more sinister. And let's not forget how our fears can be manipulated. In a world where anyone can edit a video, the line between reality and fiction blurs even further. A simple cut can transform a harmless clip into something out of a horror movie. This is where the tension escalates. What happens when we can't trust what we see? When every video could be staged or altered, how do we discern fact from fiction? This is the new age of ghost stories, where technology plays a central role in shaping our fears. Now, if you're still with me, I have to ask, what do you think? Have you ever experienced something that made you question reality? Maybe you've seen a video that left you feeling uneasy. Drop a comment, I'd love to hear your stories. As we continue to explore this intersection of technology and the supernatural, we can't ignore the cultural implications. Different regions have their own unique ghost stories, and with technology, these tales can spread like wildfire. Let's look at the phenomenon of creepypasta. These are horror-related legends that have been copied and pasted across the internet, often taking on a life of their own. They tap into the collective fears of society, morphing and evolving with each retelling. While some might dismiss them as just internet folklore, there's something deeper at play. These stories reflect societal anxieties about technology, connection, and the unknown. The more we share these narratives, the more they with others. We're at a point where a simple video can spark discussions about death, fear, and the supernatural. It's real, really. A grainy clip can provoke deep thoughts about our existence, our fears, and what lies beyond. But let's not get too lost in the philosophical. These stories are still meant to entertain, to scare, and to provoke. They remind us that even in a world dominated by technology, there's still a space for the unknown. As we come to a close, it's worth considering the future of ghost stories. Will they continue to evolve with technology? Or will we find ourselves longing for the simpler tales told around a campfire? Before we wrap up, let's revisit that earlier question. How much of our fear is rooted in the supernatural versus our relationship with technology? It's a complex web, and it's one that continues to grow as we navigate this digital. So, to leave you with a thought, as you watch those eerie videos, remember that they're more than just entertainment. They're reflections of our fears and anxieties in an ever-changing world. And if you enjoyed this exploration into the spooky side of technology, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to stay updated. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the realms of technology and the supernatural. Until next time, keep your screens close and your lights on. You never know what might be lurking just out of sight.